Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, all. I'd like to welcome you. My name is Simone Rudder. I'm Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Barbados. And I'd like to welcome you to this afternoon's press conference where the Honourable Sandra Husbands, Minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, will be having a press conference with Ms. Kamal Kira, the Parliamentary Secretary of Canada in the Ministry of International Development, and Her Excellency Ms. Marie Legault, High Commissioner of Canada to Barbados, and the rest of her team. And this has been a very special relationship that Barbados has with Canada, and we're very happy to have our guests from the International Development Ministry here in Barbados. Without any further ado, I'd like to invite Minister Husbands Minister Sandra Husbands to the podium, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PS, and a wonderful good afternoon to everyone. To Parliament Secretary Kamal Kira, we want to welcome you to Barbados, and we want to welcome you to the opportunity to experience the Caribbean in its fullest. And to the High Commissioner, Marie Legault, we thank you so much for being present, and Tariq Khan. And we are very happy to have the Foreign Minister, Minister Jerome Walcott, and our new High Commissioner to Ottawa, Mr. Reginald Farley. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak to you this evening. Barbados had the pleasure of speaking with Canada today. Prime Minister spoke extensively with Ms. Kira and with Marie Legault on the wonderful relationships that we've shared over the years and how important and vital the Canadian relationship is with us, and that we are right now in need of a friend. And we have asked Canada to stand with us as we walk through some very difficult waters over the next couple of years. And we will rely on that friendship to help us at this time of need. We're also very happy to have the opportunity to congratulate you. We understand that there will be a launch this afternoon of a special fund that will support women. And women are extremely important to any civilization. They're half of our strength, our intelligence, our ability, our power. And any time women are oppressed anywhere, a nation is the poorer for it. And Canada has been a tremendous champion of women and gender issues. And once we bring that balance to the world will definitely be a stronger and a better place. So we're looking forward very much to the work that you'll be doing across the region in terms of your grant funding to be able to assist us with our gender issues. I also want to say that the importance of relationships and the importance of putting the value of human beings above everything else, because at the end of the day, all that we do as government officials, all that we do in our homes, all that we do in our businesses is really to advance the cause of people and to help them to live a much better life. And I think that if each of us keeps that in the forefront of our minds as we do what we do on an everyday basis, then there is so much more that we can do to better the lives of others. And that is why your particular grant funding is going to be very important, because it will better the lives of women. I want to just make a special appeal to our women that we're making great strides here in Barbados, but they're not enough. We definitely have to put more work into it to begin to understand the value that we bring to the entire process of life, and that we are able to see that there are opportunities that we need to seize and take the best advantage of and convert them into those opportunities that will help us to fulfill our purpose here on earth. So I want to thank our Canadian friends again for their tremendous support. I want to thank you for your friendship of Barbados, and we look forward to working with you on this very, very important project that will affect women across the region and here in Barbados. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for those kind words. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to be here. I want to thank the people of Barbados and Prime Minister Motley for their warm and generous welcome. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate Prime Minister Motley in person and on behalf of the Government of Canada on becoming the first female Prime Minister of Barbados. The Prime Minister and I just came out of a meeting where we discussed the strong and long-standing relationship between Canada and Barbados. I can assure you that this relationship will be as strong as ever under Prime Minister Motley's leadership. The Prime Minister and I talked about our common efforts toward economic and climate resilience and our dedication to advancing gender equality and tackle poverty and inequality. Earlier today, I had an opportunity to meet with women leaders from Barbados. They echoed the need to increase support for women's rights in the Caribbean. They told me how important it is to have them to have opportunities and platforms where they can raise their voices and exercise leadership. As women in politics, the Prime Minister and I know firsthand the importance of a political voice. Women must be involved at all levels of government in finding solutions that protect the rights and interests of everyone. That is not just my opinion. There is significant evidence that shows that if you want to end poverty, you must empower women. If you want to build lasting peace, you must involve women. If you want to increase economic growth, you must invest in women. And that's why today, I'm pleased to announce that Canada will contribute $4.8 million Canadian dollars over 5 years to strengthen women's organizations and movements across CARICOM countries. This funding is part of Canada's Women's Voice and Leadership Program. Supporting grassroots organizations that advance women's rights is a cornerstone of Canada's Feminist International Assistance Policy. We must put the empowerment of women and girls at the heart of our development efforts because we believe and know that that is the most effective way to eliminate poverty and inequality for everyone. For decades, women's rights organizations in the Caribbean have led efforts to raise awareness about women's rights and to advocate for changes in laws, attitudes, and behaviors to advance gender equality. This Canadian funding will support women's organizations across 10 CARICOM countries so that they can come together, network, and advocate collectively in an effort to gain momentum needed to effect real change. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So okay, the fund will be, there will be also, we are working with all the national organizations that exist in the region, plus we are also working with regional organizations that exist in the region. So they will be consulted, they will submit their proposal, and after submission of their proposal, this is not Canada, we are working with Match International, who will implement the project with Astra and other organizations that will help them. But it's not about, it's about providing tools for empowerment of the women group. It's not to empower them, it's to provide them tools. So that's how it's going to work. That's a very simple manner. Well, it's going to come in, I would say, in a few months, because there will be these conversations with these groups. They will have to submit their proposal. That will be proposal for their own activity plan, but also to strengthen those groups, because this is important. They become strengthened. That the same process will occur regionally. So there will be some of these platforms that works together, those networks that works together. They will have advocacy program that they will want to present, and that they will be supported.
The fact that you mentioned, what, 4.8 million Canadian dollars, to me that works out at approximately $400,000 each for the 10 countries that you mentioned. Is that enough to do what you think is necessary to empower women in this region?
Well, this is, I would say, we are going to do it for 5 years. This is certainly, this is not, we are not dividing it by country. We are dividing it, it will become by issue. And I'm sure also they are contributing. We are not counting their own contribution, what they bring to the table. It's about strengthening these groups. What they will also be looking at within the project is the need and if they need to build this sort of a global fund for the region for that. This is something that is planned. So we will see how things are evolving. But at the same time, at that moment, this is how they have evaluated the need for the region.
What are the 10 countries?
Pardon?
What are the 10 countries?
The 10 countries? Well, these are the 10, the countries that are eligible for development assistance. This is the, I will not forget anyone. So Guyana, Jamaica, Belize, Suriname,
St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenada, Dominica. I think we have 10 probably there. Barbados is not an ODA country, but Barbados has a lot of regional organizations and women's groups here that will be working together. This is, as my colleague here, as we were saying here, this is all about providing the enabling environment, providing the platform, providing the tools to work also with other organizations that are out there that are already doing some work. We're not going to do this in a silo, and perhaps your calculation doesn't seem to be that much, although 4.8 million Canadian dollars is still a lot of money. But it's also about putting the platform in the enabling environment for those women's groups to work together to enable them to do something broader and to put the connecting dots between them. So it's not working on its, definitely not working in a silo. As our parliamentary secretary said, we met with some women's groups today to discuss some of those priorities and where we're going to go, what are the key issues, because we know the Caribbean has done a lot of advances in the last 20 years, but there's still some priorities. Economic empowerment, for instance, as Minister Husbands has said, there's still a lot to do, but this fund can help advance these issues, not working in a silo. Canada is not going to work on its own. We're going to work with other groups that are already out there in those 10 countries, and Barbados will be part of that conversation as it was today. Any other questions?
Apart from this fund that you spoke about, were there other areas that were discussed between the two sides that they didn't make? Apart from
There were other areas that were discussed today? Do you want me to answer here? Yes, of course. We looked at a broad number of issues that are, of course, common between Canada and Barbados. And, of course, the economic situation and the priorities of Barbados were discussed. Canada has been a friend, as Minister Husband has said, and our parliamentary has said. We've been friends for a long, long time, so we've been following the situation in Barbados and the economic plan of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. And of course, we'll be following closely. We'll be there to help in ways where we can do it. We'll be sharing experiences. So there's a number of things. Our two Prime Ministers spoke recently, a month and a half ago, discussing a number of key priorities that are common, as our Parliamentary Secretary said. Climate change issues, resilience, economic development, and so those are part of the discussions that we've had earlier on, apart from this project.
But I know that last year, Canada had pledged, I think it was $100 million to the Caribbean and the hurricanes, and also there was this region with climate change. How much of that money has been drawn down already?
So yes, you're right. Last November, Canada pledged $100 million to the region. And since then, our team has been very involved in discussing with Dominica and other countries in the other countries in the region, as well as with CDMA and other organizations, how can we best implement that, as well as in discussion with other organizations to make sure that there's no duplication. Part of the trip that our Parliamentary Secretary is doing is about this pledge and how we're going to implement. So we'll be talking about it tomorrow, and you'll have more information about it tomorrow. But we're going to Dominica tomorrow to have discussion with Prime Minister Skerritt and his cabinet to discuss that pledge and how Canada will and has been already implementing the pledge. Our Prime Minister already announced one project at the Summit of the Americas last June, and there will be other announcements as we go.
Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Thank you also to Minister Husbands, Ms. Kira, High Commissioner Legault, and all. We wish you a safe trip back to where you've come.